I'm Andrew Wrigley, and in this video series I will demonstrate how to make a pair of shoes by hand. I will demonstrate every technique and step using nothing but hand tools, no machines of any kind, not even a sewing machine for the uppers. Everything will be stitched by hand. A lot of the materials and tools in shoemaking can be very hard to source, so I will provide you with contact information for lasts, tools, and leather used by bespoke shoemakers around the world. More importantly though, I will show you how to make some of your own tools and to make shift with tools at low cost from your local hardware. Cost can often be a big consideration in starting a new project, and I want to keep the costs down low. So for this project shoe, I will be using the homemade, improvised, and makeshift tools and show you the results that can be achieved by those, as well as showing you the correct tools. There's an old shoemaking expression that a long time ago, good shoes were made with nothing more than a knife, fork, and spoon, and it's true. A hammer, blade, and awl, and the shoes were far better than the ones you see in stores today. Our project shoe, a cap-toe semi-brogue Oxford. Here's a close-up view of the pattern we're going to be making, and I recommend you go online to Google digital books and look up John Bedford Leno's The Art of Bootmaking and Shoemaking. It's a great compendium of information and will greatly assist you in your studies. This is our last, and this is a recent project shoe that I made. Our project shoe is going to be a cap-toe semi-brogue. This is a full brogue, and the full brogue has the wingtip that makes for a double vamp line. And the semi-brogue will have a straight across toe cap, and in this particular type of semi-brogue that we're making, we will have a Adelaide style, so it won't have a vamp line that continues down. Instead, there will be a U shape to the neck. I bought this last from Richard Anderson at Thornapple River Boots, who has a limited supply of lasts. You can buy beautiful handmade lasts at springline.net in England, and they offer student discounts. Oxford means that the lacing is closed rather than open. If it were open, it would be a derby. The joint line, the vamp line, and the toe cap are places to begin in making your pattern. To find the joint line, you can set the last down on a flat surface, and where the curve touches on both sides, you can mark, and that is the joint line. And you can set a piece of string across it and draw a line. So I prefer the tape method over the paper method. The paper method is more traditional, but I think it's harder to learn for a beginner, and the tape method tends to be more accurate. It maintains fidelity to the form of the last. So we're going to tape this last up, 3 layers of tape, and then start sketching out the designs on it. A couple quick notes. This boundary line where the vamp meets the facings is important. It tends to be about 70 millimeters, 65 millimeters long, enough for 5 holes. And the last is designed to accommodate facings that come up about the same height every time. Also, the outer and inner parts of the opening are asymmetrical due to the fact that your ankle bone is on a slant. And again, you should observe your own foot and also go online and look at good shoe websites that have fine examples to get a feel for the proportions. All right. The tape should go underneath what's called the feather line, which is the edge of the last. But it doesn't need to go on there, and we'll be marking that and cutting that. But the tape should go just enough to go over the feather line. So I'll tape this up and show you the next step. Here is the last with 1 layer of tape on. You have to put a total of 3 layers to make it strong so that when you remove the pieces of the pattern, they don't tear. So we'll continue on doing a neat job of taping. I've put 3 layers of tape over the last now. It's very firm, and I've drawn out the pattern lines. If you make mistakes, you can tape over and redo it, but basically we have the pattern laid out now for the cap-toe semi-brogue Oxford. You might notice a difference between these two. The facings have a yoke in the throat that's U-shaped, whereas the vamp line of this one continues down. This is called an Adelaide pattern. So there's no vamp line that continues down here, it stays up here. It's a very nice pattern. It's traditional, one of the traditional patterns, and I like it very much, and that's what we'll do for our project shoe. And the way you construct this is you do the bottom line of the Adelaide throat to match up where it would be if it was a regular vamp line, only you stop right there and continue up. A really good idea would probably be for you to look at other fine shoes online at places like John Lobb, Edward Green, W.S. Forster, G.J. Cleverly, Gaziano and Gerling, and Perry Ercolino. They're shoemakers who really value tradition and have not deviated from the origins of the design very much. And the reason why that would probably be good, as opposed to just looking at any fine shoemaker, is you need to understand these traditional patterns in order to come up with new patterns, because the new patterns are merely variations of a handful of classic patterns. So if you're unaware of what the difference is between a Balmoral and an Adelaide, it could affect the refinement of your proportions later. So it's all about learning proportions. And you can, I'll post a list of links at the end of the video. So basically, you know, I have sketched out the pattern here for us, and I'm also going to draw in more detail. Alright, now I've sketched in the broguing, and we're ready to cut the tape off the last. I find it helps in visualizing the project, and it doesn't take very long. And it gets you in the mindset of where the brogue holes should be and that they're placed accurately. This is called the medallion. It's the ornate pattern that goes on the toe. There are many different medallion styles, and you can experiment, but learn 5 or 6 of the classic ones first. So next, this will get cut off of the last and flattened out onto paper, and I'll teach you about making your seam allowances. And we're ready to go. One other important detail, you might notice that the gap between the facings seems a little bit wide, and there's a reason for this. We're going to be not using commercially prepared top beading. Instead, we're going to make our own beading by folding calfskin, and the result of that is that it is wider and it needs more space. Commercially prepared top beading is excellent to use. It's made from kangaroo, and it comes with cuts in it so that it's easy to bend, and it's very strong and it's very thin for a very smart appearance. But it is commercially produced, and this project is about doing everything by hand. So we'll be making our own top bead, and as a result I had to allow a wider space in the facings. Alright, a couple words before I proceed to the next step, before we do that. It would really take a long time to go into formulas and measurements of how to construct a pattern, and then the video wouldn't be 10 minutes long. But there is a good book by George Koleff on last making and pattern designing. But I just thought I would tell you a few basic measurements to give you an idea of how this worked out on a 9.5E last. The toe cap line is about 62 millimeters back from the bottom of the last. The lower side of the opening is about 43 millimeters from the bottom of the last, perpendicular, and the higher inside part of the opening is about 48. So there's a 5 millimeter difference. And I expect that lasting it will probably come down 2 millimeters a little bit just from the stretching and just because it tends to happen that way. So I take that, I keep that in mind. All right, so one other thing, you can use a coin as a guide to create the curve at the top of the facings. English shoemakers sometimes used to use a 2-pence coin, which is a few millimeters wider than a American 25-cent piece. 25-cent piece is 23 millimeters, so you could make a circle with a diameter that's maybe 26, 27 millimeters, and then that might help. But that can be your decision for how you want the shoe to look. All right, on to the next step. Well, we've cut out the tape from the last now, and this is a pattern for a tongue that will also need to be made. Very simple pattern. It fits on the shoe like that. So here is our upper and the tongue, only they don't have allowances. Now, if you'll notice, this piece of leather of the vamp goes underneath the toe and is sewn there. So we need to allow for extra leather. So if it's a single row of stitching, around 7 millimeters is plenty. And if it's a double row of stitching with broguing, then you need a bit more, about perhaps 12 millimeters. You need to add an allowance of approximately 35 millimeters all the way around to give you leather for your pulls when you're lasting and putting the nails in. That excess leather will be cut off, but you need it to make the shoe. All right, well, now the patterns have been completed. They've been traced out on the paper. Always make sure to label and date them and write whether it's the right or left last that you've used, and then for the other foot, we're merely turning the pattern over. You might be asking yourself, what are those lines right there? What they're for is for putting my leather pen through and tracing a guideline, so when I'm fitting the pieces of leather together, I get them registered properly. So that will show me how to fit everything. So that is essentially it, and we will be moving on to clicking and skiving, covered in our next segment. So I apologize for the production value not being higher. It's my first video, but I hope it's been of some help to you in your first shoemaking project. So see you for the next segment, clicking and skiving, and this is Andrew Wrigley, and hope you have some enjoyable time shoemaking.